Hello friends, in this video we will be learning about construction of isomorphous phase diagrams. So we will be understanding how we will construct an isomorphous phase diagram for an isomorphous alloy, and we will be looking at the microstructure obtained by cooling of an isomorphous alloy, and we will be identifying the phases at different temperatures and compositions of an isomorphous alloy. So before getting into the construction of isomorphous alloy, first we will understand what is the importance of constructing the phase diagrams. What is the importance of reading the phase diagrams? So we all know that phase diagrams, they are plotted between temperature on y-axis and composition of the alloying element on the x-axis, right? So temperature on the ordinate and composition on the x-axis. Okay, so the composition of the alloying element, it may be expressed in terms of weight percentage, or it may be expressed in terms of atomic percentage, or it may be expressed in terms of mole fraction. So with the help of construction of phase diagrams, we can identify the phases present in the material at different temperatures and at different compositions. So with the help of constructing the phase diagrams, we can identify different phases. We can identify different phases present in the material at various temperatures and at various composition of the alloying element. So once if we identify different phases present in the material, we can find the microstructure. We are able to see the microstructure of the material, and we are able to identify the different phases present in the material. So once with the help of identification of different phases, we can find out physical properties. We can find out physical properties of the material, and we can identify the mechanical behavior of material. We can identify the mechanical behavior of the material. It means we can find out the mechanical properties of the material once if we identify what are the different phases present in the material, or what are the different phases present in an alloy. Okay, so we can find out physical properties like electrical conductivity, density. We can identify these properties. Okay, melting point, etc. Okay, so phase diagrams, generally they are constructed by cooling of an alloy from the molten phase to solid phase. Okay, so we will cool the alloy or material from the molten state to the solid state, and we can identify the different phases with the help of phase diagrams, right? So now what do you mean by isomorphous alloy? What are the conditions? What are the conditions in the solidification of an isomorphous alloy? We'll be looking about this construction of an isomorphous alloy. So isomorphous alloy, what type of metals exhibits isomorphous solidification, or what type of metals are called as isomorphous alloys? So if the two metals which we consider as A and B, I'm assuming the two metals as A and B, which are completely dissolved in liquid phase or liquid state, and the two metals are completely soluble in solid phase or solid state. So if this condition is satisfied, when the two metals are completely soluble in the liquid phase and the two metals are completely soluble in the solid state, then an isomorphous alloy can be formed. Okay, So copper nickel alloy is an example for isomorphous alloy. So whatever may be the weight proportions of copper or whatever may be the weight proportion of nickel, they are completely dissolved in each other, they are completely soluble in each other, and they form an isomorphous system or isomorphous alloy. So first we will be learning about cooling curve of an isomorphous alloy. With the help of this cooling curve, we can construct the phase diagram for isomorphous alloy, right? So cooling curve, we all know that cooling curve is always plotted between temperature versus time. Cooling curve is always plotted between temperature versus time. Temperature on the ordinate, that is y-axis, and time on the abscissa, that is x-axis, right? So if I will be cooling the alloy, I will be taking various proportions or various compositions of the alloy, and I will be cooling from molten state to the solid state, right? So I am constructing the isomorphous alloy cooling curve. So I am taking temperature in terms of degree centigrade on the y-axis and time on x-axis. So initially I am taking composition as 100% A and 0% B, right? So 100% A and 0% B. It is nothing but pure metal A. It is nothing but pure metal A. If you construct the cooling curve for pure metal A, the solidification will start and solidification will end at a fixed temperature, right? So if I am drawing the cooling curve, so I am taking constant rate of cooling, I am doing equilibrium cooling or slow cooling, right? So it freezes at a constant temperature. Solidification will start at this temperature and solidification will end at this temperature. Solidification will end at this temperature. So this is the cooling curve for 100A, 0B, that is a pure metal A. Similarly, I am taking 0A and 100B. This composition is nothing but pure metal B. This composition is nothing but pure metal B, right? So let us consider the next situation, 0A and 100B. So let us consider from the liquid phase. Initially it is in the liquid phase. So from the liquid phase, I am doing equilibrium cooling, I am doing a slow cooling, I am doing a constant rate of cooling. So that's why I am representing with a straight line, right? So once the metal B reaches its freezing temperature, solidification will start, and as it is a pure metal B, solidification will start and solidification will end at this fixed temperature, right? So I have represented the cooling curve for pure metal B. Next I am taking 80% of A and 20% of B. So now to the pure metal A, I am adding alloying element B, right? So when you add an alloying element to the pure metal, either the freezing temperature will decrease or increase, right? So when you are adding alloying element to the A, now I am doing equilibrium cooling from the molten state. Now the solidification will start at this temperature. So as it is an alloy, solidification occurs. Solidification will occur over a range of temperature. Solidification will occur over a range of temperature. So solidification starts here. So now solidification begins. Solidification will be carried over a range of temperature. Let us assume solidification ends here. So now from the solid state, it is cooled to the room temperature, right? Now increase the weight percentage of B. Let us take the composition as 60A, 40B. Okay. So bring down the temperature. Make equilibrium cooling from the liquid phase. So I am cooling constantly in slow conditions. I am doing equilibrium cooling. So solidification will start at this temperature. Now as this is an alloy, solidification will occur over a range of temperature. So let us assume solidification starts here. solidification will carry over a range of temperature. Let us assume solidification ends here, right? Now it is cooled. Now the solid phase, the solid solution is cooled to the room temperature, right? Now let us consider the alloy of composition 40A and 60B. The alloy of composition 40A and 60B. So from the liquid or molten phase, cool the alloy, right? So make it equilibrium cooling or slow cooling. I am doing a constant rate of cooling. So that's why I am representing with a linear line. Sorry. So I am doing equilibrium cooling, right? So at this point, solidification will start. Now as it is an alloy, solidification will be carried over a range of temperature. Let us assume solidification completes here. So now we got the solid solution or solid phase. So let us bring the solid solution to the room temperature. Okay. So right. So we are doing equilibrium cooling or slow cooling. The cooling is performed very slowly. That each and every phases are identified. Okay. Now let us consider 20A and 80B. Okay. So I'm doing equilibrium cooling from the molten state. I'm doing equilibrium cooling or constant rate of cooling. So let us assume solidification will start here. Now solidification will be carried over a range of temperature. So let us change the slope of line. Let us assume the solidification will be completed at this point. Okay. So now solid solution is formed because the condition for the isomorphous alloy is two metals are completely soluble or completely mixed in solid state. Now at this point we are getting a solid solution of isomorphous alloy, right? Now we are having a solid solution and it is cooled to room temperature. So now join all the solidification start points. This is the solidification start point, okay, and join all the solidification end points. Join all the solidification end points. Okay, so we can get the cooling curve for an isomorphous alloy. With the cooling curve, if we transform these values, we can get the phase diagram. So I am joining all the solidification start points. Okay. So I am joining all the solidification end points. So now this is the cooling curve for isomorphous alloy, right? Now by transforming these values of solidification start points and solidification end points for various compositions, we can construct the phase diagram. We can get the phase diagram for isomorphous alloy of two metals A and B, right? So we'll be getting the phase diagram like this. We'll be discussing in detail regarding this phase diagram. So we'll be getting the phase diagram like this. Okay. So always when you are constructing the phase diagram, the temperature will be on y-axis, the composition, that is the weight percentage of the alloying element B, on the x-axis, right? So this is a 2D phase diagram we are constructing. We are assuming the pressure as 1 atmosphere. While constructing the phase diagram, we are assuming the pressure as constant and we are taking it as 1 atmosphere, right? So if we transform this data, the solidification start point, solidification end points for various compositions, we will be getting the phase diagram like this. Okay. Now in this phase diagram, we will discuss about what are the different phases we can identify, and we'll be taking some composition of alloy and we'll be looking about the microstructure of that particular composition of an alloy. So let us construct the phase diagram for the isomorphous alloy. So to form the isomorphous alloy, the two metals must be completely soluble in the liquid phase and the two metals must be completely soluble in the solid state or solid phase. Okay, so we are getting the phase diagram. We are getting the phase diagram of isomorphous alloy as shown below, right? So always the phase diagram is plotted between temperature in terms of degree centigrade or degree Fahrenheit, okay, on y-axis, and composition, that is weight percentage of the alloying element on x-axis. So we have seen that we got the phase diagram like this for the isomorphous alloy, right? Now this point is 0% of B. This point is 0% of B. It is nothing but 0% of B means it is nothing but 100% of A. And this point is 100 of B. 100% B means this is nothing but 0% A. So when it is 100 A means obviously this point indicates melting point temperature of pure metal A. So when it is 100 B means this point indicates melting point temperature of pure metal B, right? So the area over here is liquid phase. The area over here is liquid phase. So the area over here is, if you take any point, okay, if you take any point and if you draw a horizontal line, you can identify the phases. Okay, now the area over here, okay, it is alpha solid solution. Okay, at the end of cooling, once the solidification is completed, we are getting solid solution, which is known as alpha solid solution. The two metals are completely soluble in each other and forming a solid solution, which we are calling as a alpha solid solution. Alpha, it's a Greek letter. So we all know that Greek letter starts with alpha, beta, gamma, delta. Okay, so we have taken the first solid solution, which is formed this alpha solid solution, right? So now we must identify the phases in this region. Okay, if you consider any point, if you move to the left, you are getting alpha. If you move to the right, you are getting liquid. Okay, so this line is nothing but liquidous line. Okay, what do you mean by liquidous line? If you take any alloy composition, okay, when you are cooling from the molten state, when you are cooling from the liquid phase, at this point it is a liquid. When you are doing equilibrium cooling or slow cooling, when you reaches this line, when you reaches the liquidous line, solidification will start. Solidification will start. Okay. Now once after reaching this line, you are doing equilibrium cooling or slow cooling for this composition of the alloy. When you reach this point, this line is called as solidus line. At this point, the points on the solidus line indicates solidification has completed. Solidification has completed. Okay. Now we can identify the phases in this region. If you consider any point, if you move to the left, you are getting the solidus line, that is alpha solid solution. So alpha. If you move to the right, you are getting the liquidous line, so liquid phase. So the phases in this region is alpha plus liquid. Okay. So this is the phase diagram for the isomorphous alloy by cooling from the molten state to the solidus temperature or until the solidification is completed. Now in this diagram, if you want to find the degrees of freedom at various points, okay, for example, if you consider one point over here, if you consider a point A, okay, if you apply the Gibbs phase rule, so we all know that this phase diagram is plotted by assuming pressure as constant. We are taking pressure as 1 atmosphere. So to find the degrees of freedom, we need to use condensed Gibbs phase rule. Okay. So P plus F is equal to C plus 1. Okay. So degrees of freedom will become C minus P plus 1. So C indicates number of components. P is the number of phases in equilibrium, right? So next one is the external variable, that is temperature, right? So as we have constructed this isomorphous phase diagram for a binary alloy, for a two component alloy, the C value is 2. So at point A, the degrees of freedom is C, number of components is 2, number of phases is 1, liquid phase plus 1. So we get the degrees of freedom as 2. Okay. Now degrees of freedom equal to 2 indicates we can vary temperature and composition independently and still the liquid phase is stable. Okay. You can see here, if you take a particular composition, at this temperature value, it is in liquid phase. At this temperature, it is in liquid phase. At this temperature, it is in liquid phase. At this temperature also, it is in liquid phase. Right? And similarly, if you take a particular temperature value, if you take a particular temperature value in this liquid area, at this composition it is in liquid phase. At this composition it is in liquid phase, and so on. Okay, it means degrees of freedom is equal to 2 implies temperature and composition both can be varied independently. Still liquid phase is still liquid phase in this region, and similarly in this region the solid solution, right? Still the liquid phase and the solid solution, the one phase regions are stable, right? Now let us suppose you consider a point here, you consider a point B here. Let us find the degrees of freedom at point B. Okay, at point B, the degrees of freedom F is equal to C minus P plus 1. So two components, binary alloy, the number of phases existing is 2, alpha plus liquid plus 1. So degrees of freedom is equal to 1, right? It means, for example, if you take a particular temperature value, the composition of the alloying element B, in the solid phase, this is the alpha solidus line, alpha solid solution phase, and the composition of the alloying element, this is the composition of the alloying element in the liquid phase is constant. If you are choosing the temperature, the compositions of the alloying element in the solid solution and the composition of the alloying element in the liquid are getting fixed. That is the meaning of degrees of freedom is equal to 1, right? It means here either temperature or composition can be varied independently, but not both. Both cannot be varied independently, and still you can't have these two phases in equilibrium. Only one parameter can be varied independently for the existence of these two phases in equilibrium, right? So in the next video, we'll be taking a particular composition of the alloying element of the isomorphous alloy, and we will cool from the molten state to the room temperature, and we will see the microstructure observation of the isomorphous alloy at room temperature and at various other temperatures and at various compositions. And once if you find out the microstructure, you can identify the phases and you can find out the composition of those phases. So we will be seeing these contents in my next video. Thank you all.